This is a mini meditation guided by Bombas. Repeat after me. I'm comfy. I'm cozy. I have 0 blisters on my toes. And that's 'cause I wear Bombas, the softest socks, underwear, and t-shirts that give back. One purchased equals one donated. Now go to bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN at checkout.
Welcome to the CJ Moneyway Show podcast, the podcast show where we unlock potential one dream at a time. Today, we have another guest whose journey is truly worth hearing. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the Moneyway experience.
What's up, my good people? Welcome to the CJ Moneyway Show in association with Believe Entertainment, the podcast that brings you stories behind the success. Today we have on the show a remarkable guest, Ken. Ken is a lawyer, a father of triplets, and has an incredible heartfelt story to share with us today. How you doing today, Ken?
I'm doing great, thank you. And thank you for having me as your guest.
I thank you for taking the time out of your day, man, to come on the CJ Moneyway Show. So, Ken, tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your background.
Okay, well, I grew up and have lived most of my life here on Long Island in New York State. And I think what may be of most interest to your listeners is that in October of 1970, at the beginning of my junior year at Cornell University, I broke my neck and had a serious spinal cord injury playing on the lightweight football team at Cornell. And in an instant, I went from being basically in the best shape of my life to being almost totally paralyzed over my entire body. So I'm a quadriplegic, and for the last close to 54 years now, I've been dependent on other people for basically all activities of my daily living.
So, yeah, that's a remarkable story, Ken. Just, for you to go through that, like you say, in the best shape of your life. And then in the instance, we never know, how things can change so quick. And so, Ken, after this life-changing incident, you went on to accomplish some amazing things at Cornell, like earning an undergraduate degree in engineering and a master's of art in education. How did you navigate that journey after such a traumatic incident?
It was really difficult, but I was fortunate. I had a lot of help from a very supportive family and some very wonderful friends. When I went back to Cornell, this was about 20 years before the Americans with Disabilities Act, and virtually nothing was accessible on campus. Cornell's on a very hilly terrain, and just about every one of its buildings has steps in front of it. So on my first day of classes, I had to be either pulled up or bounced down close to 100 steps just to attend my first day. I couldn't have done any of that without all the help that I got from my classmates, as well as my personal care attendants. They made all the difference for me doing what I did.
It's good to have friends and people that care about you, that can help you along the way. I know the good books say that it's better for two than the one, because if one falls, then the other one can pick them up as that one falls. So it's good to have people, in your circle, man, that's not just willing to be there, but just willing to give a hand to somebody that needs it. And so tell us about your experiences helping others who has been seriously disabled.
Well, following my injury, as you indicated, I went back to school at Cornell and I got my undergraduate degree in engineering. But I felt that what I really wanted to do was to go into a career where I'd be helping others, mostly on basically a one-to-one basis. So I decided to pursue a career in counseling. So I stayed up at Cornell, where I got a Master of Arts in Education, where my major was actually counseling and student personnel administration. And then to increase my counseling credentials, I went to Columbia University, where I obtained a Master of Education degree in psychological counseling and rehabilitation. And I went to work as a vocational rehabilitation counselor at a facility called Abilities Incorporated, which was part of what was then called the Human Resources Center and is now called the Viscardi Center. And they're dedicated to helping people with disabilities. So when I was working there, I was providing vocational, rehabilitation, and placement counseling to other individuals who had severe disabilities. And I did that for a little over 2 years, and I really loved the work and trying to help other people who were dealing with life-altering injuries or disabilities.
So Ken, your accomplishments doesn't stop there, man. And it's amazing the things that you've been able to pursue. So tell us about your decision to pursue a law degree and how did that come about and what doors and opportunities did that open up for you?
Okay, well, I think there were two reasons that encouraged me to go into law. One was that while I was working as a rehabilitation counselor, I used to speak very frequently to groups and organizations concerning affirmative action and non-discrimination for people with disabilities. Mm-hmm. And often after my talks, I'd be asked questions. And while I do my best to answer the questions appropriately, I was always careful to caution the questioners that they should really consult with a lawyer about their concerns. And I guess it didn't take long for me to start to think, there's no reason why I couldn't become that lawyer. Mm-hmm. So I started thinking seriously about law. But in addition, I have an older brother named Steve, who I'm very close with, who was working at the time as a criminal defense attorney. Mm-hmm. And I used to watch my brother in court. And I used to think, that looks really interesting as well. And I like the idea of being a trial attorney where I'd be depending more on my voice, right, than rather physical activities of having to do legal research and writing. So I decided that what I really wanted to do was to be in the courtroom. And I was really fortunate after law school to secure a job as a Nassau County Assistant District Attorney.
That was going to be a question that I had. Like, why did you choose to be a trial lawyer? But now that you told me, you said your brother was your inspiration, seeing him do his thing.
He certainly was. But I have to add that after my second year of law school, I did an internship at the Nassau County District Attorney's Office. Mm-hmm. And I knew I wanted to devote my life and my career to public service. And working at the District Attorney's Office just seemed like the perfect way to do that. And being in the courtroom always excited me. And it gave me the opportunity, as I said, to be able to use my voice, my speaking ability. And with the exception of what I've been told, I have a fairly thick Long Island accent. I was not disabled to go into the courtroom. So I decided to pursue that as a career.
Oh, man, kudos to you, man, for accomplishing all these things after such a traumatic, situation, man, to just keep moving on and doing the things that you enjoy to do, man, and the things that you love. So Ken, let's get to something that you got on your agenda right here. Tell us about your book, I Dream of Things That Never Were.
Yeah. Well, thank you. The Ken Kumpkin story. It's actually on the shelf right behind me. And I've been very fortunate to have 12 Tables Press, the publisher, publish it last year. And it's basically my memoir. It details my life, what I went through following my injury, the lengthy period of hospitalization and rehabilitation, how I went back to school, later secured a job. And what I most like to talk about is my personal life as well. Because what I'm most proud of is the fact that in 2003, I married the woman of my dreams. Her name is Anna. She's actually sitting just off camera to my right.
How you doing, Anna?
And after we got married, Anna told me that she wanted to have my baby. Now, this is what really seemed impossible, because at the time, I had been paralyzed for more than 30 years, and I was already in my 50s. But we researched various options, including in vitro fertilization, and were thrilled that it may be possible for someone even in my condition to father a child. So we pursued in vitro fertilization, and through the miracle of science, Anna became pregnant. And on January 24th, 2005, I was present in the delivery room when Anna gave birth to triplet boys. Wow. I have 3 incredible sons, Joey, Jimmy, and Timmy, who are now in their sophomore year in college.
That's cool, man. So just to ask a question. So how is it, because that's not a story that you hear a lot with triplets. I know that it's out there, but how is it being a father of triplet boys?
It's the greatest thing in the world. There is nothing better than that. When I was growing up, and obviously now as well, I have an older brother and a younger sister that I'm very close with. And my wife, Anna, also has a brother and a sister that she's close with. So when we talked about having a baby, we both agreed we should really make sure our baby had a sibling, right? We both wanted to have more than one. And lo and behold, we were fortunate that Anna was pregnant, not just with twins, but actually with triplets. What could be better than that? It's the greatest thing in the world. And I am just thrilled beyond words to say what it's like to be a father of triplet boys.
Man.
Nothing could be better than that.
Man, just the journey alone, in your 50s, didn't have not with just one, but three, and that fulfilled you guys' dream. Hey, man, that's something totally amazing. So, Ken, I only got a couple more questions for you, man, and then I'll let you go. What was your experience like testifying before the Senate that included Edward Kennedy about healthcare issues?
Well, when I was still a patient following my injury, I was a patient at the Rusk Institute for Rehabilitative Medicine. And at the time, I was approached by Senator Ted Kennedy's aide and asked if I would agree, my father and I, to testify before his United States Senate Health Subcommittee on healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why they really wanted me to testify was that my father was an insurance agent. And my father testified that there was no insurance policy available at the time that would cover an injury as severe as mine.
Mm-hmm.
So they were most interested in my father's testimony and for me to basically put a human face on it to show this could happen to anyone. And following my testimony, Senator Kennedy sent me a glass paperweight in the mail that had an inscription on it that the senator said his late brother Robert Kennedy liked very much. And the quotation on that inscription was, "Some men see things as they are and say why. I dream of things that never were and say why not."
Mm.
That's where I got the title of my book, I Dream of Things That Never Were, right? And it's meant an awful lot to me. That testimony before Senator Kennedy and the interest he showed for people with disabilities such as mine, as well as the fact of that quotation, it means an awful lot to me because I dream of things that never were.
Man, that's cool. And it's crazy and amazing how somebody asks you to testify, and then this is the theme to your book. Years later, this is something that you use to inspire others with your book now, something that stayed with you that long, man. I think that's cool. And so, Kim, I only got one more question for you, man. So, Ken, you have received some prestigious awards along your journey. Can you tell us about a few of them and what they mean to you?
Well, all the awards that I received, obviously, I am very proud of and really appreciate being recognized. But the two that probably stand out the most to me right now are soon after I got my first full-time job following my injury, I received the Long Island Rehabilitation Award for the Rehabilitant of the Year. And that has meant a tremendous amount to me to recognize the fact of what I went through and the rehabilitation that I pursued and the fact that after the injury that I had, I was back in the workforce, working full-time as a vocational rehabilitation counselor. And I absolutely loved the work and appreciated the opportunity to help other people with disabilities. And I would like to go on to say the last award that I received is also extremely meaningful to me because recently I retired from the Nassau County District Attorney's Office after working for more than 40 years there. And they decided to name an award after me. They now present annually the Kenneth J. Kumpkin Award to an outstanding ADA, Assistant District Attorney, every year who exemplifies what I have tried to do with my life and my work in the District Attorney's Office. And I am thrilled beyond words to say that they've recognized the work that I've done in the office and have named an award after me.
Man, that got to be cool. I know some people, they had a streets named after them. And to have an award, man, to be named after you for the service that you have provided, over 40 years somewhere, man, and to walk away and knowing that every year that somebody's going to get this annual award in your name, man, I know that got to be a great feeling, man. So kudos to you, Ken. Hey, so Ken, thank you, man, for your time and sharing your story with us. Where can we get the book from? Where can we find you at on social media?
Well, what I'd suggest is to go on my website, which is kenkunkin.com, and it'll indicate right on there the best place to buy the book. Now, most of the books are being sold on Amazon, but it also indicates where, if you wanted to buy the book in bulk, how to do it from the publisher directly. So please go on my website, kenkunkin.com, and it'll tell you exactly what you need to do to purchase the book.
Okay, Ken, is there anything else that you would like to share with us before we leave?
I'd like to say that when I was injured back in 1970, I really didn't know any other individuals who had an injury as severe as mine that were in the workforce and doing something productive with their lives. And I was disappointed that when I was undergoing my rehabilitation, the expectations for somebody with a severe disability was so limited that I felt like people weren't really being encouraged to go on and do something productive with their lives. I didn't know of another role model out there at that time that would encourage and inspire and motivate me to do what I did. And I'm hoping that through my book, as well as through what I did, it can help motivate and inspire people to do more with their lives. And I hope it'll also encourage people in the medical profession to encourage people to do more with their lives and to everyone to increase their expectations for what people can do, right? Because people's performance often rises and falls based upon what others expect of them. So it's so important to keep your expectations high. And that applies expectations for yourself as well as for others.
You heard it here, my Moneyway people. Get your expectations up, not only for yourself, but people that's coming behind you. This is my man, Ken. He a trailblazer, and he's doing things out there. Grab the book, I Dream of Things That Never Were, the Ken Kunkin story. Hey, you have been listening to the CJ Moneyway Show. I'm your host, CJ Moneyway. We out of here. Peace.
Don't miss out on CJ Moneyway's book, Both Eyes Open and Both Eyes Shut. And get ready to pre-order his upcoming release, The Issues of Life, coming soon. Moneyway, aiming to inspire. Thank you for listening to the CJ Moneyway Show. Don't forget to share this episode with your friends, leave a comment, and drop a review. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday and Friday for more inspiring journeys. Who knows? Your story might be next.